Okay, I want to answer the question how I found my wife. Everybody's different, and miraculous miracle of finding a wife that had the same heart as me. And I was on a trip to Coatzacoalcos, Mexico, Veracruz area, and I got a rock in my ear. I live close to the beach, and every morning I would run down to the beach and swim. During all the day, we would go door to door and preach in the streets. But in the morning, I had a little time to do that, swim in the ocean. So I did that, and one morning I got, I guess, a little pebble or sand or something in my ear, and it stopped my ear completely. So I called my leader and said, hey, I need some help. Well, they sent a doctor to come to the house where I was staying with a pastor, and she took this pebble out of my ear and I could hear again. Well, God told me, this is your wife. This is your wife. Okay. Well, she didn't hear that for 2 years, but at the end of my time there, 2 months in Coatzacoalcos, I felt like God wanted me to go to India, and I said, well, if that's my wife, and I feel that you want me to go to India, then you'll bring her to India. So I went back to the States. Then I ended up in Belgium, headed to India. I got to Belgium, and they said, you can't go to India, but we want you to get on the ship, the Logos. So I got on this missionary ship, where I stayed for 2 years. We crossed, we were in Spain, Ireland, England, Spain, Portugal, and then we crossed over. By the time we crossed over, I was the co-pilot of the ship. They had trained me as a co-pilot, as a fireman for the ship, and so for 10 days, we crossed the ocean. This was a year later. And during that time, I said, well, Lord, you said that was my wife. I don't know where she's at. So you can bring her to me somehow. So we got to Venezuela. And after we were there, of course, before that, we went to several islands, ministering and everything. Then we got to Venezuela. And one day, Crystal walked on board the ship. So I was terrified, and it took me a lot of nerve just to be able to approach her and say anything to her. But after a few months, I did, and they gave us, on the ship, you have to have special permission to date anyone. And you can't do that until you're there for a year, the first year, before you can even go out on a date with somebody else on the ship. Can't date people out of the ship, but they let us do that. So we got special permission, but before they spoke to us and they said, we want you to wait a month before you go forward with any kind of plan, and both of you pray. So we prayed for that month. I fasted for 10 days during that time, which was very hard, working in the sun all day. I did drink water, but it was very difficult. But at the end of 10 days, they said, okay, now you go and get together, you talk, and you decide, if you want to continue any kind of relationship, dating or whatever. And so we met and decided yes. She said yes, okay, and I said yes. And a few months later, I asked her to marry me, and this was in 1985. So we left the ship and headed to Mexico. This was when there was an earthquake, and one of the reasons she left was because of that. She wanted to see about her parents, but I decided, well, this is the time for me to leave. And so we went to Mexico and we got married. So all these things God put together. So if you're looking for a wife, pray. I wasn't really looking for a wife, but God gave me one anyway. So, you know, God has different ways. He's not going to do it the way He did with me, but that was how He put us together. So, good afternoon. God bless you.